The raid on Lindisfarne was not an isolated incident. It was a harbinger of a new era, a period of intense Viking activity that would transform the political and cultural landscape of Britain and Ireland. What began as a hit-and-run raids evolved into large-scale invasions, conquests, and ultimately settlements. In the decades following Lindisfarne, Viking raids became more frequent and more ambitious. They targeted not only monasteries, but also coastal towns and even major cities. The Anglo-Saxons, despite their efforts to strengthen their defenses, struggled initially to contain the Viking onslaught. The Anglo-Saxon Chronicle provides a grim record of the escalating Viking raids. In the year 835 AD, this year heathen men ravaged Sheppey. In the year 836 AD, this year the heathen ravaged Dorsetshire. Then in the year 840 AD, this year Ealdorman Wulfhere fought at Southampton against a crews of 35 ships, and there made great slaughter. In the year 851 AD, this year the heathen men first remained over winter in Thanet. These entries illustrate the growing scale and intensity of Viking activity in England. Max Adams, a military historian specializing in the Viking Age, writes in The Viking Wars. The Vikings' initial raids were opportunistic, targeting wealthy and vulnerable cities and sites, but as their success grew, so did their ambitions. They began to overwinter in England, establishing bases from which to launch further attacks and eventually conquer territory. The Vikings were not just raiders and warriors, they were also skilled farmers, traders, and artisans. As they established a foothold in England, they began to settle down, creating their own communities and integrating with the existing population. This led to the emergence of the Danelaw, a large swath of eastern and northern England under Viking control. The Anglo-Saxon Chronicle records the establishment of the Danelaw. In the year 878 AD, this year the army of Vikings rode across Mercia into East Anglia and took winter quarters at Thetford. And that year King Alfred fought against the whole army at Edington, and there put them to flight. And then he made peace with the Viking army. This peace treaty, known as the Treaty of Wedmore, formally recognized the division of England between the Anglo-Saxons and the Vikings.